Testing.
Oh, carry me home where the buffalo roam.
That's not how we're starting the show.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Wrong podcast.
Yeah, I know.
And you're all set up to play the intro?
I guess it will find out.
Yeah? We'll see what happens when you hit play.
Yes, we will see.
Are you waiting for the right
I guess. All right. Well, normally we start with our intro, so let me start with the intro. Oh, wait, no, that's not. Sorry, that's the intro for our other podcast. Right. All right. So, yeah, let's start with this.
Welcome to the continued podcast adventures of three opinionated guys with mics and too much free time. Strong enough to stop a speeding movie rumor. More powerful than a bad comic book event. Able to waste hours of time asking stupid questions to people who have better things to do. It's Dave, Ben, and John. It's Superhero Speak.
Hello, everybody.
All right, and here we are at our first ever live podcast. And, yeah, it's
Feels
empty,
good to be
guys.
alive.
No.
Yeah.
So for everyone who hasn't heard our show before,
We are geeks.
we are geeks. We are comic book geeks. I'm Dave.
And I'm Ben.
And I'm John.
Hey, no delays here.
Ooh.
Oh, yes.
Finally.
Yeah, normally we do this over Skype. When
There's always an audio
there's
delay.
always
Yeah.
an audio delay.
Well, I've got to run at least 5 Minecraft servers, so it's.
Yeah, you know.
But there's something. This isn't like our normal podcast.
Why not?
But wait, it just
'Cause you're not.
we're missing
You
a few
haven't
things.
drank enough yet.
No, I think
Okay.
first we need some comic books around here because that happens a lot with us.
Yes.
We have because we're comic book geeks, right?
Yes.
I'll just put a few of these around like that, and I have to feel good about myself. So
Of course.
you
Gotta have Rainbow Dash.
Rainbow Dash.
Oh, well,
Your
yeah.
spirit animal.
There we go. And let's see. Oh, yeah. And we need this because
Does that contain whiskey?
no. What it would be
You have
superhero
to clack
speak
on
if-
your keyboard?
Yeah, if
Okay.
in the background you didn't hear us typing away trying to fact check everything we're saying.
Right.
So, there we go. Okay.
John's good for props.
Yeah.
No, wait,
All
wait,
right.
no, wait. There's one more thing. It's just not right.
Apparently, John found his element.
Oh,
Yes.
here we go.
Oh, now we're set.
Now we're set.
Now, his memory juice.
All right, now I'm ready. Got to have that whiskey.
Yeah, and so
voice. There you go.
does anyone else here feel like they're in a Jackson Pollock painting? I'm just kind of curious.
Well, you look around. and What we got? We got a young Boba Fett executing his first contract.
Yes. Is that supposed to be Ted?
Apparently, the teddy bear didn't pay up on time.
Yeah.
We have the bovine aspect of Thanatos that somebody just stuffed and mounted on the wall.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, it's just a little doe-eyed. For people who are only listening to this, it's a little doe-eyed cow face with the black flowing robes that's been mounted on the wall here at the tattooed.
In other words,
Tattooed
come and hang
mom.
out.
Yes,
It's a pretty
that's where
awesome
we are.
place.
Yeah. So
Yes. So,
really
and
interesting.
so the other thing that I think, besides doing our first live podcast,
Yes.
that we should mention,
Our first comic book?
we did our very first comic book. Yes, thank you.
yeah.
So
We're not
this
just
was,
talking about it.
I have to give a shout out to my wife. It was her idea. Like, you guys should do a comic book to advertise your podcast. And the cover sketch was done by a friend of mine, Greg Horn, who is not here today. And then the interior art was done by Katerina Vivona, who's sitting right there. So if anyone wants to grab one of these, we've got some here on the table over there, and she'll sign it for you.
And just like Grant Morrison, there are some hidden characters in the background on one of the pages.
All right, guys. But also, we're ignoring our guest.
Yes,
Oh,
I
we have
know.
a guest.
Because he came all the way here.
I thought he
Yes.
just came to listen to us.
Well, it'd be nice.
Yes, we have a returning guest with us.
Am I your first returning guest?
No.
No.
But you're the first live guest.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Yes, you're
We've
the first
never
live
tried this
guest.
before.
Yeah, Steve Scott's actually been on 3 times. So,
How do you know he's real if you've never seen him?
That's true. That's true.
I've met Steve in real life.
Do you know it was Steve or just somebody's name Steve?
That's a good question.
Yes, I have a confession, Dave. It was me the whole time.
That was pretty good.
Remember to keep your mics up and your pinkies. Yeah.
And your pinkies?
Well, it's a tattoo month, so you don't need the pinkies. So.
No, they'll cut your pinky off here.
So for those who don't know, Mike is a comic book artist, teacher, painter. What else?
Raconteur.
He's the one who helped co-create Dark Hawk, one of the actual comic book characters. He's done inking and
I've
penciling.
done everything by this point.
Yeah.
Yes, you just did a couple issues of Convergence too, right?
Did 2 issues of Convergence. Last week I was just inking, doing an emergency inking job with my buddy Brett Blevins on Harley Quinn for DC.
Ah,
Very nice.
I know that John will probably be picking that one up.
Yes, it's DC. DC has something good.
It's about time.
So I guess you've been busy since you've been on the podcast. That's a good thing, right?
Always busy. Always busy. Yeah, I could literally probably work 24 hours a day.
And then the school's starting up again, right?
Yeah, I'll be back at the Pennsylvania Academy teaching in the high school, the after-school program that they have that's actually open to any high school student in the city of Philadelphia can come and take a free 3-hour art class starting at 3 o'clock Monday through Thursday. We provide all the art supplies. Al Gorey started this about 20 years ago, so you can come in and get a college level, work in the cast hall. You can paint from live models or do still lives. I teach the illustration class, so you can do comic books or illustration. So
Cool. Yes.
Awesome.
Yes, and speaking of your teaching, the artist who did our comic book was one of your students. So if people don't like the art, they could blame you.
No, I'm sorry. No.
Nice.
They blame you.
Oh,
They'll blame you. You're the uncle who turned her on to comics, see?
Yeah, sorry for that.
And there she goes.
So, with one of the things I wanted to talk about, since you are a teacher and you've been in the comic book industry for a long time, and you also are a painter, there's definitely a fine line between commercialism and art nowadays, and
That's actually an illusion.
okay. So
All right, Michelangelo was a commercial artist.
Okay, that's
All
what
right,
I
and
wanted
he
to
worked
ask
for the
about.
Pope.
Very
Right.
true.
Right? So
Yeah.
if you receive money for your artwork, you're a commercial artist. The difference is if you're a fine artist, you're usually working to please yourself. Right? So when I'm out, like yesterday, I was over in Burlington, New Jersey, doing a painting of a boat because I'm taking part in the 2015 Burlington Plein Air Festival.
Right.
So I'm there painting for myself. Mm-hmm. But when I go home tonight, I'll be drawing Judge Parker. I'm using the same skill set, the same tools, right?
Right.
But I'm serving either myself as a fine artist, right? And so I have no deadline. I have my own deadline, right?
Right.
I only have to please myself. But if you're working for, your Marvel or DC or, Cartoon Network, you're having to please them.
Right.
So to me, that's really it's whether you're working for yourself or you're working for somebody else. You're still trying to make your living as a professional as opposed to, say, there are many people who are what I call hobbyists who do it because they love it, but they don't make their living from it.
Right. So what kind of advice do you give your students who are graduating? Like, obviously, as an artist, you want to create something that makes yourself happy, but you need to feed yourself, right? You need to get a job. And what kind of advice would you give to an artist? How do you find that balance to make yourself happy?
I think that becomes apparent actually fairly soon because I have friends who I went to school with who originally went to school for illustration at places like MICA or SCAD down in Savannah. Mm-hmm. But then they found that through the process of doing that, they really didn't like the idea of having to serve somebody else. They really liked only doing their own thing. So it's really sort of like a personality thing. Like you either like, working for yourself or you don't mind working for other people. And and whenever you take your vocation and you marry it with your avocation, the thing that you really love, it's always a squirrely mix because there are many times I will, like last week I was helping Brett work for DC. He was originally supposed to do the whole book himself, but of course the deadline messes everything up.
Right.
So again, you have to compromise as a professional, and I've had to do that many times. You have to bring somebody else into ink, or, you can't do every issue that you wanted. It's just part of the process of being an artist working in the current times. I have a old student, actually, Sean, who just started working on, I think, Adventure Time, doing storyboards.
Okay.
And he pulled an 18-hour day the other day, and he wrote that on Facebook.
Wow.
And he said, "Welcome to the real world."
Nice.
And there are some people who, even though they would love that, their personality type would not allow them to work 18 hours a day.
Right.
Right.
No, I mean, and that's the thing too, because when someone like me, we're all software developers in our regular day jobs, and
So 18-hour days are typical, right?
no, they're not. No, I mean, there
They
is the
can be.
time. There are the times you get into a crunch. You have a project you're working on. I know we can all attest to this, and you maybe put in,
4 hours.
10-hour days. You put in 10-hour days for like a week, but then that's it. I have to imagine, and as an artist, you're up against deadlines all the time.
I would say that if I worked 10 hours, that would be an easy day. What most people would consider like a normal, like working 8 hours, if I worked 8 hours, I would feel like, wow, that was a really easy day. I mean, there are many days. I would say 12 to 14 hours is actually a fairly typical day as a cartoonist. And for actually most people I know, especially if you're working at home, working freelance, it's pretty typical.
So this is a lot like our field, software development, where you're young, you get in, you're working extra hours, even though you're probably not getting paid for it because you're a go-getter and you want to be noticed and all that. And then later on, you realize, I've got this family and these little things, kids, I guess they're called, and I got to spend time with them. And so you start laying off of doing the job, the 12 hours a day thing. So is that what you find with do you constantly?
Well, I don't
you're-
have the
you're gonna have to
things.
put
I don't have the things. Okay. I have 2 things, but they're cats right now. So, the cats are fine. But,
just as demanding.
Yeah.
but,
I mean, but most of the guys I know who are, say, right around my age who have families tend to try to like I know Jack Kirby used to work, see his family, and then he would go back to work a little bit in the evenings. I know some guys who do that, who work a little bit in the evening, like after the kids go to bed. Or they get up early and work all day so that they can have time with the family in the evening. And again, part of it is your personality. Some people are like machines and can work really long hours. Other people, just because of the nature of their personality, they go like, 10 hours, I'm done. I can't work effectively after that. So there's no one way or right way. It's just like whatever works for you. The bottom line is that you have to meet the deadline. That's the main thing. So... if you're fast, you might only work 6 hours a day because you're fast. If you're slow, you might have to work 7 days a week, all the way until that issue is done.
True. Now, actually, you just hit on something I've been always kind of curious about too with artists, and I know we have a few artists in this room tonight, so I'm going to be careful as I ask this question. There's a perception I get when I talk to different artists about if you're too fast, sometimes you're sloppy. Do you think that's true, or do you think
No, but
Okay.
what I would say is that you want the job to look as good as possible all the time, even if you have to rush, which I've had to do many times. You don't want the work to look apparently to look to the reader bad. The thing is that the reader has no idea what conditions under which you just produce that issue. Like most people who will read that issue of Harley Quinn will have no idea how, desperate that deadline was like 2 weeks ago, right? They just pick it up and they look at it and they go, oh, this doesn't look as good, or this looks okay. So the idea is I remember Joe Kubert telling me you always want to make sure that it looks as good as possible. And the other thing is never tell your editor how fast you are, because then they will always expect that. And every job is different. You might have a job where there's just like 2 girls in a hot tub. Fine.
Right.
Easy to draw. The next issue might be Ant-Man and all the ants in the hot tub. That's not going to be easy to draw.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I think that's actually good advice, no matter what you do. Like, there are times where you can do something real quick. Don't always tell your manager right away, or at least the customer right away. Like, oh yeah, I can get this done in 10 minutes because then every time it should be 10 minutes.
It's the Scotty principle.
Yeah.
You tell them, it's going to take me 10 hours. 10 minutes later, you're done. You can take the rest of the day off, but the next time they ask, they're going to ask, okay, I've put aside 10 hours for this. I know you can do it in 10 hours, and you can take it a little bit easy, but still get paid.
I learned that lesson the hard way when I was like 19. I'd gotten a job working in an ad agency in Ann Arbor, and they were the ad agency that handled the Domino's Pizza account. And so I got this job, and we would produce these ads that would appear, in newspapers and phone books all over the United States. So you always had this big stack of ads that needed to be pasted up. You'd have to spec the type and put together and, get the photograph or whatever graphics you would need. And I had previously had a job at another small ad agency, and my boss, Rocky, was an old Marine, and he was a real taskmaster, so he wanted you to work real hard. But at this ad agency, I came in there working with the same mindset that I had when I worked with Rocky, right? But the people there, they had figured out, I have to do just so many of these, yellow page ads a day to make my living. And I come in and I do 3 times as many as everybody else. And dude, what are you doing? You're going to make the rest of us look bad. Here, just do 2.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
it also depends, if you're working in an environment like that and you're the speedy guy,
Yeah.
everybody else will hate you.
Nobody likes you except the boss, right?
Right. Yeah.
Right.
But they were bad bosses for other reasons, though.
So you've worked in comics, you've worked for cartoons, and TV, and you teach, and then you paint for yourself. What's your favorite outlet?
Right now is actually painting and working for myself. When I was 20, it was getting in and being a professional and wanting to be like all the artists that I admired. But I think after a certain point in your life, and you've done enough of that, you've done a lot of that, you also want to end up working for yourself. You want to have something for yourself, because this industry is what I call a dead check. You might get a royalty. In the 90s, you made good money, all right? But basically, once you send the work in, you get your paycheck. You rarely get anything else after that. You don't own the characters. You don't have. I think I told you guys before, it was you can come in and take a third string character, and if you do something interesting with it, it's like playing with somebody's toy that they left in the toy box and ignore it. And then they see you having fun with it. That looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Right,
You're like,
right.
hey, that's my toy. And then they take it, and of course it's they don't want to let you play with it anymore. You know? So it's you look at the characters like the Punisher, who had been around for a long time. Then they sort of reinvigorated the character. And then he was in every single issue of every comic for 10 years just about, it seemed like.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So I always advise younger artists to always work for yourself. As even your whole career. And I did that a little bit, but I really want to do more of that now, because also the nature of the business is very different. I mean, it's super corporate now. I mean, with Disney and Warner Brothers basically owning everything.
Yeah.
Right? And their cultures of those corporations don't understand the comic culture.
So,
that's true.
yeah, you don't get much of a chance to do new stuff these days, I guess, with those, right? I mean, you had the chance to go create Darkhawk. How did that come about? And
Well, Marvel really had a plan at that point to launch one new book every month, right? And so I was working on Quasar, and they had started doing all those new books every month. And of course, this is way before everybody was making crazy money on royalties, right? Way before Image and everything, which fundamentally changed people's attitudes towards working or creating. I would never create Darkhawk for them now. I would create it for myself. All right? Because now, I have a contract with them that says, if we make a movie, you get this little teeny piece of the thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he could appear in every Marvel comic every month forever, and I would get no royalty for that.
Right.
No incentive, no feedback, no control, no say, no nothing.
Right. I think we talked about that a little bit when at the convention. and I'd asked you, would you like to see them use him, in the movies or the TV shows? And I believe you said Guardians, right?
If he was in Guardians of the Galaxy, I think I might get something small. I might get something from the toy. And it's the way they have all those
Right.
contracts worded, because actually the original Marvel that I created Darkhawk for, that company no longer exists, because that was the company that was bought by Ronald Perlman.
Right.
Right, and he's the guy who owned Revlon and everything, and he
Yes.
totally messed that whole company up. So actually, everybody's creator contracts with that had to be redone because that company was defunct. Right.
Right.
And so a lot of the old royalty structure, I believe, they would pay for reprints, all that kind of stuff. Like, I still have all that stuff with DC, which really never changed, but the stuff with Marvel changed because that corporation went bankrupt. So.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Well, what if he appeared in the background in the Guardians of the Galaxy in the collector's thing right next to Howard the Duck?
I'd have to go actually look at my contract, because, they also have ways of saying, well, yes, he was in there, but he wasn't a major enough character. He had no lines.
Right. Probably wasn't even listed by name in the credits.
Yeah, I mean, I know a bunch of guys who created stuff for DC, and from what I heard was Paul Levitz was always very good at making sure that the people who created stuff, and whenever it appeared, they got, credit, and they got, something for that, right? But I don't know if that's the same thing now, because I think, was it Marv Wolfman, or somebody had something with some character that was on some episode of some TV show that he said he created,
Yes.
but he didn't get money for, or he wasn't getting
It was
compensated
DC, and it was a character that was used on The Flash.
Yeah.
And I can't think of who it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he didn't get anything because they said they
It was
changed
derivative or something?
Right. It was a derivative. They changed the character enough where they didn't have to pay him. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And so now who decides that it's derivative, right? It's not me. I wouldn't say Darkhawk was derivative, right?
Right.
They have some lawyer. They have a building of lawyers, and that's what they do. They figure out, well, there's some kind of way we can legally,
Twist
twist it, right, exactly. So they can say, yeah, you were the creator, but you just copied that idea.
Yeah, they'll have in the season 2 of the Daredevil TV show, they'll have Lighthawk.
Right, yeah, right. Exactly. Exactly. They'll have every other color hawk.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Happy
Yeah.
Hawk.
Yeah.
He's not as dark and gritty.
That's right, yeah. So, yeah, I think then when the Image guys came along, they were originally going to try to do stuff for Marvel, but Marvel didn't want to cut the deal. So that fundamentally changed everything, because at that time, too, editors also got royalties an incentive at the end of the year based upon how well their books sold. That was also the reason why Wolverine and the Punisher appeared in all those books. So, but Marvel had a policy every month. They had Darkhawk, Sleepwalker, the New Warriors,
Right.
all those once, and that was the last big influx, I think, of people who could start with an issue number 1, were the right age, early to mid-teens, and could follow through and become readers. And you don't have that now, because they're not starting new stuff. Everything is sort of a retread of a retread of a retread now.
Definitely.
Nobody's inventing new characters now.
Yeah, not really.
Well, not Marvel and DC.
no.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, you would go to Image or whoever, and you would create your own stuff.
Right. So I guess what I'm hearing is just the main focus is for young artists, make sure you do stuff for yourself.
Right. And to also, I mean, you have to realize something. And again, this is something that you don't think about in the beginning. You just want to be an artist or a writer, or, you want to work in the business. But you're a business person. Your business is your art. And you're dealing with other businessmen, right? And traditionally, the history of comics is the artists are really crappy businessmen and have created all these billion or multi-billion-dollar ideas, right? And so, like, Bob Kane had a lawyer,
Yep.
right? And so he got a much better deal than Siegel and Schuster, right? And I mean, there's still, until recently, we're fighting that same legal question over the partial copyright ownership of Superman.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So I always tell my students that you need a business class, and you have to learn how to read a contract. And if you can't read a contract, you need to get to know someone, or a lawyer, or someone who's won't charge you an arm and a leg to read a contract. You know,
Right.
Because when I started self-publishing, remember that show Big Bad Beetleborgs?
Yes.
All right.
Well, I shouldn't. Right.
Wow.
I mean,
You have them all on
I don't
tape,
remember
right?
that.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
They were in a comic shop, I believe, right? And they wanted graphics to stick on the wall in the comic book store and comics to put in there. And so I'd started self-publishing. So I get this, guy calls me on the phone, loves my stuff, and you could tell he'd probably didn't even know who Superman was, but sends me this boilerplate contract. Just sign it and send me your stuff, right? Of course, if I had signed that, they would have owned all my stuff. And I told the guy, well, you got to, I had my lawyer look at it. And he goes, well, you need to take out this clause and this clause and this clause. He goes, oh, no. This is boilerplate. Everybody is signing this same thing. And if you notice on the show, you didn't see any real comic books. I said, yeah, the NBA is going to give you the rights to license all the Michael Jordan stuff.
Right.
Marvel's going to give you the license to license all the, So you really have to pay attention because you might sign something like that, which then you'd have to go pay more lawyers to fight to get those rights back.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, it's a good thing you didn't look at the contract for this show before you signed it.
I thought it was just all the beer I could drink.
Sure.
In 1 second. That was, you got to read the fine print, right?
So you have any? Last time you were on, you were talking about the art gallery shows you were doing. You have any shows coming up?
Well, I'm participating in the Burlington Plein Air, so I think on the 12th of September in the 32 Gallery in Burlington, all the people that were participating, there's 30 artists who were participating in the 3-week long. You can paint anywhere in the city of Burlington for 3 weeks, and then you submit your artwork, and then you can submit 3 pieces, and then the judge will pick their favorite piece. So that'll be on the 12th of September.
Oh, cool. Yeah, that sounds like something to check out, especially if you're from that area. Something I wanted to ask you last time and I forgot when we were talking about doing art shows. I've seen this before where you'll see art shows of comic art. Have you ever done one of those?
I did one a few years ago down in Nashville. Brett and I we went down and we did a symposium down there, and we did a lecture, and we had a little show of our artwork there. And the faculty shows, I've always hung 1 or 2 pieces of stuff, but I've never just done. I mean, you would think that people would do that more now because comics are sort of the hip thing, but I don't know if that you really have a gallery in Philly that would do that or not.
Okay.
Maybe in New York or like L.A. or someplace like that.
Yeah, L.A.
Probably,
definitely. They'll do anything out there. I think.
Exactly, yeah.
Anything goes.
You're being awfully quiet tonight. You know that.
I haven't drank enough, apparently.
Well, here. There you go. This will fix you right up. There you go.
All right. How are we doing on time, guys? All right. So we're going to. You can now sit there and be
I can
quiet.
turn my mic off now. Is what you're saying?
No.
Or you can participate. We're going to do something. I think we have enough people here to do a couple of them. We're going to do. We used to do a thing on the show called Stump the Geek, where we would ask a question and then.
It's a social media thing.
Yeah,
sort of
social
bring
media
people
thing.
in.
And then cut their leg off if they
No. We would
answer incorrectly. Turn them into give them a stump.
It was in the contract, so yes.
So we want to do Stump the Geek live, and I think we have some stuff to give away. So is anyone interested in participating? Free stuff.
Well, we just throw out some questions and see how they respond.
Okay,
Yes.
that's true.
Well-
I know we have a couple geeks in the audience. So I want to give a shout
They're
out
all
to my
looking at
brother
each other now
Ed and Sean from Geeksters. So for those who don't know, they do a podcast on Aquanet Radio. You can catch them live Sunday
I didn't know
nights.
Hairspray had a radio
That's-
show.
Isn't there a better word than geek, though? Doesn't geek have such a negative connotation to it?
It used to, but I think it came back. So really negative is what you're saying now, right?
So I think everyone should check these guys out. All right. So, and also I want to just talk a little bit about what we're giving away. So first,
A vanilla envelope.
Yes.
That's for you.
Oh, okay.
That's where we're going to put the beer in.
Oh, okay.
If anyone listens to our show, have you ever heard of Face Value Comics before? If you haven't, that's fine. They have been on our show twice. Let me see. And what they do is they've been episode 63 and episode 41, so you guys should check them out. And what it is they do comics for kids with autism. It's a
And the main
couple.
character is autistic.
Yes,
in-
the main
in
character is
comic book.
autistic. It's David and Angela Cott. They're a married couple that do it. He is actually a early childhood psychologist who specializes in autism. So he decided to come up with this, and we're going to give away issue 1 and issue 2. And there's also something else about these. They are now available in your local comic book shop. They do have a diamond deal, but these are pre-diamond. So these are
They're
actually
rare?
They're very rare because Diamond made them make changes to it.
What?
Yes.
Unheard of.
Is that unheard of? So yes, Diamond made them make a few changes. So these are
Spider-Man in it?
yeah. So I am going to let Ben ask the first question since he's been so quiet tonight, and since it's his question.
So, I don't know how many of you have actually managed to or tortured yourself by seeing the Fantastic Four reboot lately.
The new one? Or
Which
the
one?
New one? The new one or the new
Yeah,
one?
the new one.
The new one?
I've managed to actually not see this one. But to pay homage to the more successful previous ones, specifically talking about Chris Evans, besides the Human Torch and Captain America, can anyone name another role that is a comic-based character that Chris Evans played?
Does she count? Okay.
I said,
He said that.
besides Human
Captain
Torch
America
and Captain
and Human
America.
Torch.
What's that
No,
you're
but he
drinking
played
there?
Captain
'Cause-
America.
Come on, Sean.
Anyone?
Was it a TV or a movie?
Movie.
Movie?
Give a hint. Any more hints?
Was it was it in the 90s?
No.
No, not that far back. There's actually multiple appropriate answers to this. I'll accept any one.
Apparently he's done a lot.
Yes.
Ooh,
Yes,
I
we
would.
would.
nice.
Do you remember the character name? No. That's okay. That's okay.
It's okay.
Most
We'll
people
take it.
would.
We'll take it.
It was Lucas Lee, or Evil X number 2, I believe.
Well, I totally forgot. I saw that movie, but I don't
Yeah.
remember that.
One of the ex-boyfriends.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
The other answers were
Did he have
he
swoopy hair or something?
Yes.
Yes.
was like a skater movie star character.
And he had
okay.
dark hair in the
Yeah.
movie too.
Oh, okay.
Not blonde.
The other two possible answers were he played a character named Curtis from Snowpiercer, and
Was that?
as well,
was that? Do you consider that a comic?
it was based on a comic book.
Okay.
So there was a comic book that the movie was based on, and there was also a was it a Vertigo comic, The Losers, where
Yes.
he played a character named Jensen.
Okay.
Oh, somebody knows.
Now, before we do the next question, the prizes we have are from John Miller from Outpouring Comics. He was recently on episode 117, so I think people should check them out. They're an independent comic book company, and I'm actually going to have John come up here because he drove all the way here from. Where you got from again, John?
So he was escaping from New Jersey to come
Well,
here.
he had an excuse to leave New Jersey. I think that's
That's good.
commendable.
John, give him your mic.
To pry it out of his hands. May have to want.
So,
wipe it off.
before we ask the next question and give away some of the stuff you donated, you had something you wanted to announce.
Yeah, actually, tonight at 9 o'clock, you guys will be the first ones hearing this. Tonight at 9 o'clock, we are launching a press release, several major news outlets. We were able to bring the Burton and Schumacher award-winning work Inheritance into the Outpouring Network. Last year at the 2014 Action on Film International Film Festival, they won the award for the best artwork. James Schumacher is currently one of the top-ranked independent film directors in the country. He's up for a nomination for best director at the same festival this year for his independent film, The Astronaut. He also won a top horror script in 2014 for another work that he did that year. His story is actually a very inspirational one. He lost his mom tragically to cancer in 2009. He then started to go very aggressive in 2010 because the last thing his mother said to him was, "Don't give up on your dream." Since then, he's had several successful independent films, and he's, now an award-winning film director and an award-winning comic writer. His counterpart, James Burton, he also won an award for Inheritance because it was the best artwork. And he's actually done a few things for us in the past, too. We met him through one of our contractors by the name of Don Smith. And he does some very exceptional artwork. We're bringing a few more things from both of their collections, a few more announcements later on in the year. But we're just happy to announce Inheritance, a slow burn horror that's based off of more or less a family curse, and how an ancestor in the family who hadn't been spoken about for a very long time, how he's now starting to attack the final members of his bloodline, and it's their fight versus him for the inheritance of the family.
Cool. So when should we expect to see the first issue on that?
You will see we're launching the prologue at Baltimore Comic-Con on September 25th, 26th, and 27th.
All right. So everyone should be going to Baltimore Comic-Con and picking that up. So you gave us some stuff here to give away. You want to start with the hat and T-shirt, or you want to work up to that?
Oh, we'll do the hat and T-shirt first.
All right. So it's a hat, and it is signed by you, I assume.
2 of the original 3 founding members.
2 of 3.
That's the original. Yeah, you could track down the 3rd one. He's really hard to find. But that's our original logo. We've done a little redesign, so this is actually the last. That's literally the last hat, and unfortunately, we only have medium T-shirts left. That's the 3rd to last T-shirt that has our original logo.
So a skinny person has to answer this question. All right, Ben, go ahead. What's the next question?
Should I do my next question, or should I go with the softball? All right. All right.
It's up to you.
All right. I'll do my next question. So we have Ben Affleck trading the red tights for the bat cowl. Ryan Reynolds going flip-flopping between Bladed Merc and Ringbearer. Can anyone name another actor who has crossed the Marvel DC lines on the big screen? And there's a lot of possible choices here.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Come on, you guys. I'm looking at you, Corey.
Yeah, give it.
Well, that's too big of a hint.
Lucas Lee and Scott.
All the ones that I have on the list, yes, were completed. All right. Probably the easiest one for people to pick up on. The one of these, the DC one, was a colossal flop, and technically you'd consider it a Batman spinoff.
Yes, and the Marvel ones are probably the most successful ones that aren't made by Marvel.
Yes. Go ahead. Well,
Halle
Berry would be it. Yes, Halle Berry was Storm in the X-Men, which is Marvel, and she played Catwoman which was a DC. Which
there you go.
It was not good.
Nathan gets it.
There you go.
We're giving you the prize because you saw Catwoman, not because you answered the question.
Yes.
All right. I think,
I'm not going to go down the list. There's a
you're
lot.
not gonna. Okay. All right. Well, want to do a softball then?
Yeah, we'll do a softball for the next one.
We can go real easy. That's not even on here.
I think this is easy enough.
All right.
Number 3 on here. So anyone who's a Spider-Man fan should be able to get this one. Name any 3 animal-inspired villains of Spider-Man.
I'm looking at the man in the back because I know he's a Spider-Man fan.
Wait, no.
Those all work.
All right.
Yeah.
They all work. All right.
Wait a minute. Octopus is a cephalopod, right?
That's an animal.
All right. So we're gonna give you a
We
choice.
didn't say mammal.
One of these or the face value comics.
Tomato.
Which ones?
The face.
The face value? Oh, cool.
No.
Well, that's true. All right. Well, you want to do one more?
We'll do one more.
All right.
All right. So what's this one? All right. So So you know Stan Lee loves to make cameos in all these Marvel movies, but he hasn't made it in all of them. Can you name 2 movies that are based on Marvel characters that Stan did not make a cameo in?
Wow. I didn't
You
think that
answered
was,
once already. Let someone else try.
I didn't think that was possible.
Oh yeah, no. And
There's a
it's
couple,
longer
actually.
list than I thought. It was a longer list than I thought it was going to be.
All right.
We'll give you a hint. Some of them are really big flops.
Well, they were flops because Stan wasn't in them.
Of course, yes.
He'll tell you that.
No offense to St. Lee.
Yes. Anyone?
All right.
All right. What you guys?
Fine.
Yes.
Yep. Yep.
Yes. All right.
Congratulations, sir.
Come on up.
Come on up.
So bad,
Collect your
even
prize.
Stan Lee wouldn't appear.
What do I get?
You can choose from one of the things from Outpouring.
Oh, I see Vampire. That's my winner.
All right. All right.
That's not listed here, but he wasn't in any of the Punisher movies,
no,
so
yeah.
probably not in that one either.
The
Yeah, he
Punisher
was-
right there.
Yeah, but I think that was the Thomas Jane Punisher movie.
Oh, okay.
Was the Dolph Lundgren one actually released in theaters?
I don't know.
Wait a minute. Why are we're supposed to know this?
We're supposed
This is us.
Yes.
You didn't see it?
No.
You just got
I
tipped.
don't like
You're
Dolph
down
Lundgren.
a notch.
All right. So now what we're going to end with. Everyone likes free stuff. You want to read it? You can
go
read
ahead.
it. No, you can read it.
No, this one's yours.
All right. So this is the Philly Podcast Festival, right? We're celebrating
that where we are?
podcasts, and there's a podcast that's not here this weekend. Pete's Basement. They're another comic book podcast, and they are doing free passes for New York Comic Con 2015. You get 2 3D free day passes, and how it works is it's a podcast scavenger hunt. So what you're going to need to do is go to petesbasement.com/NYCC_giveaway, and there'll be a list of podcasts and a place to put an answer in. Every podcast is going to give a question. You have to answer it on the website.
Yeah.
Somebody wants tickets. It's petesbasement.com/NYCC_giveaway.
And when we post this
Yeah, when this
When we
episode
post this episode
it'll
on
be on
Wednesday,
there.
that'll be on the post
on
as well.
Yes, and you're-
superheroespeak.com.
And your boss will make you listen to it.
Yes.
So, and then what you're going to have to do is there'll be links to the other episodes with the question in it. Whoever gets the most answers is going to get the
The
tickets.
most correct answers.
The most correct
Oh,
answer.
great.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Just the most answers. I mean, everyone just go there now. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, right?
So,
My luggage, dude.
since we mentioned this actor already this evening, here's our question. Oh,
Kind of a softball now.
wait a minute. Can't do that.
No?
Why not?
Why not?
All right, fine. We'll do it.
There's multiple entries to the thing.
All right.
All right.
This is just our
So,
question.
here's the question. What actor has played the most comic book characters in a movie?
In movies.
In movies.
Not in a movie.
In movies. That's the question. Don't answer it now. What you're going to do is go to petesbasement.com/NYCC_giveaway and put your answer in. So good luck to everyone. And to everyone listening, thanks for listening to this, our first ever live podcast. Thanks to Tattooed Mom for hosting it.
Absolutely.
Thanks to Meg Manley for coming in.
Yeah, thanks. Well, I was going to thank Mike.
Okay.
You know.
And hopefully
I
next
mean,
year
we
they'll
owe him
forget
at
us
least a
enough to
couple
invite us
beers
back.
for putting up with us.
Just to put it out there
thanks for
again,
asking.
he's been an inker or a penciler on like Batman, Superman, Darkhawk, Dexter's Laboratory, Barbed Wire, you know, Catwoman, Doctor Strange, Ghost Rider. You basically you've seen his work.
And
There's no way you
thanks
couldn't
to the Philly Podcast Festival for putting on Philly Podcast Fest and having us.
Is this the first one?
No, this is their third year. This is our first one here, though.
Yeah.
And as always, boys and girls, don't let your cake get caught in the door.
Okay, now it's my turn. Okay, what are you doing? Taking over Dad's mic so I can be part of superhero speak. Duh. Well, there are better ways to join the conversation. Really? Like what? Well, you can interact with them on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, and even Pinterest. Wait, people use Pinterest? And what's Google+? I don't know, something to do with circles. Anyway, you can also see all their posts, including comic book reviews, on their website, where you can also sign up for their mailing list. Cool! Yep, are you still going to try to hijack Dad's mic? Nope, I'm going to try to answer the Stump the Key question. Nice. So who do you think would win in a fight between Rainbow Dash and Squirrel Girl? Oh, that's a hard one. Oh no, Dad's waking up. My lives!
Oh, what are you guys doing? That cape's gonna get caught in the door.